is really important that we begin to change the mindset of young people to know that your vote counts.
They don't understand that the legislative arm of government is actually a co-equal arm of government.
We have an incredible amount of potential.
Whatever it is I was doing, because of my personal DNA, it had to be of an international standard.
Which is what, seriously speaking, is all about. Welcome. This is Seriously Speaking. In a couple of days, precisely on the 7th of June, it will be exactly 2 years ago since I started running this show with partnership with Channels Television, thank you Channels, and Ultima Studios, thank you Ultima Studios, and all the crew here. It's going to be 2 years. And in July also, it's a little over 1 year since this 8th Republic began work. And I thought, since our ethos, really, on Seriously Speaking, is discussing issues that concern you, but even if it is fun and we're laughing here, it is serious. Not making it look too much like straight-jacketed, but serious. And I decided that today, I'm going to dedicate this show to talking about national issues from an ordinary man's perspective. I don't have public analysts, I don't have government officials. I have people who, some you might recognize, maybe their voice, one of them. The other person you certainly will not know, but is as concerned about Nigeria as you and I are. Now, in my home, we voted 2 ways, you know, and so, and I won't tell you how until we come back. And so we always have this robust conversation, my husband and I told you so, I didn't tell you so. Everybody had their issues. But one thing you can't change is that in Nigeria today, things are hard. But again, as hard as things are, the cyber world, the world of the media is wide out there open. All kinds of comments going back and forth about who's doing what, who should be doing what. And there are a lot of issues that we should be talking about. But today on this show, I'm going to be helping you understand why, at the end of the day, balance is what's most important. Diversity exists in this country, and so balance is key. So if you take a short break, I'll be back with my guests on the show today talking about the state of the nation. This is Seriously Speaking. Welcome back. The first person I'm going to introduce you to, a lot of people hear him on radio. In fact, many people hate him now because of the views that he has, but many haven't seen him. I'll call him simply Cheta, but he's Cheta, a longer one, and there's Chuku in it because he's an Igbo man. Cheta Nwanze, it's nice to have you on the set.
Thank you.
I'm going to start by introducing Cheta. First of all, Cheta, I'm sure you know, if you listen to 98.1 in Lagos, I think they are all over Nigeria or something, I don't know where they are. But every morning on freshly brewed,
pressed.
Freshly pressed. Not freshly brewed. Who's thinking of lager here?
Same thing. It could brew the coffee.
Because it's supposed to be like a commentary on the
national
issues and the news. It's nice to have you on the set.
Thank you for having me.
And then my friend and co-producer, partner for a very long time, Wale Oyewole, you have your Facebook channel that you're always making comments.
Oh, yeah.
And I trapped you today.
That's all I do.
That's all you do. But that's not all you do. You are also a videographer, a producer, a documentary maker. But I've brought you in here as an ordinary Nigerian who's concerned. A father of children, a husband of... so who goes to the market.
Breadwinner.
Tell me, I just don't know who I'm going to start with. I think with you, because you are also a videographer. You know what happened. Do you remember the tomatoes hula baloo? When tomatoes shot up, you know, recently in Nigeria?
I think you're dropping me right into the middle of the gist.
Why?
In my own opinion, I think if there's going to be any deliverance for Nigeria, it's going to come through the media. Nigerians only react when they can see we are more visual than auditory. So if you can do TV right, you're going to get it right. Now, the problem I have with tomato
That's
is...
PR.
Yeah. The problem I have with the tomato story is it's all over the place. They ridiculously call it tomato Ebola. It's supposed to be the
virus.
pest, Twitter, absoluta. I think it's a big scam. I can't go into details. I don't have any facts. But my senses tell me there's a bigger story to it than that. No video, no TV station in Nigeria, no print journalist has given me a live picture, either video or picture, of the farm ravaged with that pesticide. I think it's more than they're telling us. Some investments were made in the tomato business, And that very year also, we ran out of tomatoes. I think it's bigger than the story they're telling us.
So
every image you see online, they are stock images.
So the point is, this brings us to the point of this conversation. You said the media is very key. You are in the media. Now you are getting hated. You are, because I know you are a computer scientist. But we hear you on radio every morning. In fact, you are a research analyst, right?
Yes.
But more importantly, we've heard you on radio. It seems to me people say you are just concerned about bashing the current government and bashing and bashing and bashing.
To be fair, I'd like to think I'm consistent because I was bashing the last one and supporting this one before they entered. And now, I've been consistent in bashing. I'm a basher. But not wife basher. Let's just get that out of here. But the point is, yes, the media is important. Full disclosure, I worked in the media before joining, 234 Next, before joining SBM Intelligence, which is where I work now. And the role of the media in raising awareness is very vital. As a matter of fact, the media's job is to educate the citizenry. And you cannot have a successful democracy without an educated citizenry. When you have citizens that are not very bright, don't have an idea of the world around them, you are going to keep having mistakes. So, for example, a very good example, our former colonial masters, the UK. Everybody saw what happened with this whole Brexit vote. That was because of a highly ignorant citizenry. The media there had dropped the ball for a while. So they allowed...
There were a lot of analysis and stuff like that around that. The ordinary person just didn't seem to be getting it.
No, the analysis is happening after the fact. Because if you were in the UK, for example, in the build-up to all of this whole hula baloo, the Daily Mail, the Sun, they were just screaming, the immigrants, they're coming to take all our jobs. So the media miseducated the people. And that's part of the problem we have here. So when we talk about tuta absoluta, the media in Nigeria has not really stepped up, as Wale has rightly pointed out. Because, for example, there are so many issues, and it's one of the things that my firm warned about a year ago.
That's SBM.
SBM, yes. We did this report called Terror in the Food Baskets, which was about not the tuta absoluta thing, but about another issue that people seem to be ignoring, which is there's a conflict, there's a limited war happening in Nigeria at the moment.
Limited war?
Yes, between largely Fulani herdsmen on one side and then pastoral farmers on the other side. So in doing that report, we actually spoke with farmers who had not harvested crops for 2-3 years. And we warned, in our conclusion, we warned that famine, starvation is coming in this country if nothing is done about it. We were called all sorts of names, my favorite one being alarmist. And what are we saying now? Bread prices have gone up. Why have bread prices gone up? Because some of the raw materials for making bread, their prices have gone up. And if by the time you trace all of these things, it all boils down to the fact that food output has gone down. Importation, some of these items are on the banned list for that you will not get dollars for. When you add to the fact that even if the dollars were there, we are not making as much as we used to. So we have less to spend. Wahala day.
Wahala day. Even Wahala day. You know, you keep talking about the media, but do you understand how the media works? At least a little bit, because you started off in the media. You started at the NTA at some point in time. But what do you think are the challenges that the media are facing that's making them the way they are, even in Nigeria?
I think one of the biggest problems Nigeria has, and I've been in this industry for a long time, I think there's a celebration of mediocrity. It's only in Nigeria we probably have a one-hit star. We really don't know what we want. We're below the ignorant level. So I think whatever we give out, there's a popular TV station that's celebrated all over Nigeria, award-winning. What I always tell my friends is, I'm here to find a TV station that actually breaks the news. They simply follow and develop the story for me. So there's a story on Twitter.
The condition, but that's why we have social media. It's like it's giving power to a lot of people.
That's actually made it worse, because what they simply do is, I've listened to 3 radio stations, this was about 3 days ago, and they basically all had the same body of news, because they just plugged it from somebody's blog page, and 3 stations, radio stations, and they had the same story, the same lines. So what people do these days, they just simply copy, paste, and then you
What's the danger in that? Because you do research, you are bashed. But I do know, there's another radio station I listen to, somebody else who's a friend of mine, Jimmy Disu in particular. People started battering him in the past couple of days because he seemed in their opinion, to be in favor of the chief of, our defense chief who has homes in places. People say he's watering down. What's your comment on this kind of compromisation in some circumstances? Because these things happen.
These things happen, and to be honest, regarding the issue of Lieutenant General Buratai, the right questions have been asked. Number one, he was commissioned into the army in 1983. What was his salary at the time? What has been his salary over the course of 33 years in the military? Could he have made enough to have bought not one, but two properties in Dubai? What are the value of the properties in Dubai? And added to that, what business is he doing? Do the rules of the military allow him, as somebody who is charged with the security of Nigeria, to operate businesses that may give him interests that may be counter to the security of the country? Do the rules of the military allow him to buy property outside the country that might be inimical to the... Those are the issues. And you see, this is one problem that we have in this country generally. We tend to, as a rule, conflate issues with personalities. No, it's not. Take another very recent example. The governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose. I don't like the man at all. I think he's poisonous.
That's your personal opinion?
That's my personal opinion. I've made that clear so many times. Mm-hmm. However, when this issue of freezing his accounts came up, I pointed out that I think it's wrong. I don't like the fact that there's an immunity clause, that's section 308 in our constitution. I think that it's rubbish. I think it should be expunged from the constitution. However, in dealing with Fayose, you should take into account that there is this law. So what needs to be done first is to remove that thing from the law.
The immunity clause.
Then get a court order to freeze his accounts, then freeze his accounts, then go after him. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. And my point is, when we don't do things according to the due processes set down, we are opening the door for somebody else tomorrow to do the same thing, and we may be the victims.
Bottom of all I have heard you guys say is the fact that the nation's structure just doesn't work. If it did, we won't be where we are today.
Too polarized. Yorubas are here, the Igbos are here.
It will happen, because I love my country. I know go die. You guys know that song? Now inside them, I go live and die.
Who was this?
That's why they don't play it on TV anymore.
Thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you, Wale. And thank you for watching. I hope it made sense. But even if we didn't, you go find a way to make sense of your own choices and bombard your elected officials. One day, we just might get there. See you next week.